Welcome everyone to the Toku Portal podcast. It's me Zero here with.
Right, and welcome to the Kamen Rider Zero-One double feature for episodes 14 and 15. Now, Zero, I don't know about you, but when we first saw Aruto summon his motorcycle and it was shot from the satellite in space down to him, I kind of wondered how it got put back. Did you?
Honestly, I it wasn't really something I was paying attention to because I'm like, oh, okay, it's like writer science. Once you dehension, it just goes back.
Like, yeah, I gave it I had a passing curiosity, but I didn't think too hard about it. I certainly didn't expect to get an answer.
Right, like I was not expecting them to be like, all right, let's go collect the bike and then like beam it back up to the satellite. Like
Where
I
we
was not
have two
expecting
Huma
that.
gear to put it back into the satellite.
Right. I mean, plus you got like the ground crew, which you see, like at the space center, whatever, who have to like
Yeah,
get
they're
all
the
the.
ones who launch it into space.
Yeah, I know it's freaking hilarious.
Uh, Now, Aruto, president of a major tech company with probably a private company limo, is late for work. And he has his personal assistant Izu. Uh,
Yeah, that was a little weird. Um, but one like Arto seems like the guy who wouldn't really like to hang around in a limo and stuff. And two, I was like, oh, is this like a Forza reference? Like the first episode, isn't this what happens? Or no?
he was no. In the first episode of Forza, somebody drops their like love letter or something, and he jumps off
Oh,
a bridge
that's
to
from
catch
episode
it.
one.
Yeah,
That's
I'm fairly confident that is our introduction to Gentaro.
yeah. I know. Okay, that's weird because I've seen this happen. Like it's in one of the writer shows where you see like the protagonist just like booking it down the road because they're gonna be late. And I'm like, it's one of the ones after Decade.
They're just booking it down the road because they're gonna be
No,
late.
no, no. I mean like they're late for school or something. I'm like, shit. I've seen this somewhere.
Kota?
Yeah. No, I don't think it's Koda. I mean, maybe it was like Shunpei, but like I feel like this might have happened in Forza or something, or maybe it was in a movie or something. Who knows? Um, I don't know. Maybe I was just kind of in like a space mood because I mean, like the space shit going on. So I'm like, oh, maybe they're doing a throwback to Forza,
I
or
don't think
like,
so.
or the other thing, which is clearly the Space Bros with these two geniuses. But I'm like, maybe they're throwing in the writer thing also.
Uh, so the Space Brothers, uh, Raiden and something, uh, they come down to Earth to yell at Naruto for using the bike outside of company hours, because they're the ones who have to keep putting it back.
Yeah, I mean, like that was really interesting. I also love the moment where it's like, yeah, the vice president's like, yeah, you're so irresponsible, and he just like turns to the vice president, like freaking like backtalks him. Also, it's like, yeah, and you're doing a shit job of training him,
Super,
right?
that's the other one.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it's kind of weird because like, Fua kind of looks like um Shotaro, and then you have like the space stuff, and then that just kind of reminds me of like the freaking like when Forze meets Double in like Megamax, and they're all both like so hard blooded. They kind of have like a moment, which is I'm like, oh, so this is like what would happen if like Forze and Double didn't meet on good terms, kind of, which is weird because Forze is like friends. with everyone, or tries to be. But it just kind of reminded me of that Megamax moment, and it's like this whole episode, like, I mean, that's later, but yeah, it's kind of sad that, I mean, like, it's weird. Like, the older Space Bro, there we go, um, is he's really important, but like outside of being a little like short tempered, like he doesn't have that much personality. I mean, like the younger Space Bro definitely doesn't have any personality. Um, but like yeah, the older one, like it's kind of the same problem as was, where it's like yeah, really important to the story, but like not enough screen time or personality for what how important they are for the show. You know. I mean, at least in this case, I think it worked for the most part. Kinda. I mean, like I wasn't expecting him to like be a one episode dude though. You know, at least a two parter.
Yeah, I could see that. Uh, I think what we got was fine though. Like I'm pretty satisfied with this. It could have been built up a lot more though, because with what happens later in the episodes, like that could have been its own episode.
Oh, dude, like all the fucking everything since they enter like Daybreak Town is like you could have fucking done a whole arc on this shit.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, I feel like him being one episode's kind of disappointing, but like at least it works better than was, because like was definitely needed more time, whereas this story still works. Um, it's just, okay. I mean, like that's what a good character should be. It's like, oh, you should always want more screen time with them. Whereas, like, yeah, this guy definitely had an interesting enough personality, and like, you know, he had interesting enough plot to have him for more than one episode. So, you know, at least there's that. It's just I wish we had more time. But, you know, like clearly they have a story to tell and they have a set amount of episodes, so they don't have time, which is kind of some of the problems a writer tends to have every once in a while, unless you run into Evolved, in which case we have no story, we just have time.
So, metsubojinrai.net. Metsubo Jinrai can be broken into four kanji, meaning that on their own would mean destruction, death, quick, and thunder. Uh, and in Japanese, like that would be Hirobi and Jin as two of them. So what about the other two? So Ames is thinking, hey, the terrorists are targeting human awakening into sentience, right? So how are they getting that information? Through satellite Zaya? So they go to the astronaut brothers and say, hey, you guys managed a satellite. Are you terrorist spies? And Fua becomes particularly suspicious when he finds out one of them is named Raiden, who keeps talking about bringing down the thunder.
Yeah, that was such a moment from like Megamax. Like that is so totally the fucking like Gentaro and like Shotaro like meeting moment, except stretched out into like an episode. It's so dumb, but it's great. Also, I mean, like you know, Thunder and Raiden, so that's like kind of just a Japanese throwback right there. Um, what's really interesting now is like talking about the Matsura Jinrai has like four words, right? So it's like death and destruction, lightning and quick, right? So the problem, like, all right, that's dumb, but I'm like, is that actually foreshadowing? Because I'm like, because I feel like Matsubo Jinrai could be like Zaya, right? Like a Zaya project, and like so destruction is clearly Jin now.
Well, destruction is Hirobi.
No, no. Okay, this is kind of spoilers for next episode. right? Because like what happens next episode, Hirobi is gone, so like
Well,
I feel like he's dead.
well, I'm talking about like their names. Like Destruction is
Oh, okay.
Hirobi, Quick is Jin, Thunder
Oh,
is
that's
Ikazuchi.
damn, that's stupid. I was thinking there it was more like the attributes, like oh, Hirobi is gone, so he's dead, and like Jin becomes destruction because he's the one who's all there now. Um, and then like basically it was kind of building up to like oh we have Lightning Hornet, is that actually the lightning one? But then she has like fucking cheetah mode too, so that's quick. I was like, yeah, you're right. Jin has it, so maybe it was just a gag. But I'm like, ah, man, it's
I'm
like,
literally
yeah,
just talking about their names though.
right, right. I know. That's what I'm saying. Is like, okay, this is the guy who wrote X-Aid, right? So like, he tends to put like insane foreshadowing. So I'm like, okay, it's clearly a gag because like, uh Fugo. I mean, um, yeah, whatever. Like he takes it way too seriously, and then it's like, oh, that's not what's happening. But I'm like, shit. If he actually foreshadowed it, and it's like, oh right, like Zaya's like boss is such a cocky asshole. He literally put all of his key players into the name of his evil organization. It's not though, but that would have been something.
So the only one we're missing now is Bo. It's Death. So that's a character to look
Yeah,
out for. Possibly a movie exclusive. I wouldn't put it past them.
maybe. I mean, like we know Zaya is probably getting another writer or something.
Do we?
We'll get to them next episode. Um, when we cover the next episode. Moving on with this.
Jin attacks because he wants to steal the progress keys. Uh, and as he's getting his ass kicked, he tries hacking Raiden, but Raiden supposedly resists it. Though we find out what actually is going on with that later. Uh, and then
Yeah, I mean, like for how that we find out that he's been running for so long, like it clearly seems like he's reached singularity. So
oh yeah,
it
that's
makes
right. He's an older model from Daybreak.
yeah, he's the only surviving human gear. Which is also interesting because uh what the hell's the other satellite? I mean like Zaya's the company, but there's
There's Satellite Zaya. There's the
oh
Arc.
Zaya. Right, right. So like the Arc satellite never even launched, so it didn't even it wasn't in orbit and crashed. It just never even managed to launch. It just sunk into the ocean.
He just blew the fuck up.
Yeah. Um which is super interesting because like the last survivor is the guy who was meant to work on it. Um which is kind of interesting. Also like yeah, at first I'm like of course he fought off the programming like he's so clearly reached singularity, right? But then you figure out that like no, something else happened. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, like that makes sense, but it puts so much more shit into question, right? Because it's like, uh, okay, so you could just literally just like, I mean, it makes sense. I guess you could just hack Human Gear, so of course they can install programs, right? So it's weird. I mean, like it's an interesting twist, but it's like
Well, like,
it just
okay,
brings up so many questions.
Raiden is a secret spy. He is secretly the Lightning member of Metsubo Jinrai. He was reprogrammed after Daybreak to convey
Wait,
information.
what?
What?
They reprogrammed him back then? I thought like Jin reprogrammed him right there.
Okay, they reprogrammed him back at Daybreak with
Oh
the
shit.
program wherein he would feed them information about Humagear across the country so that they can go and find the ones that are awakening.
Oh god damn. Okay,
What
see, I didn't catch that bit, but that makes like way more sense because I'm like,
he
okay, I guess back then he wasn't fully awakened, so
right, he
it
wasn't
makes
he so he was a spy without realizing it.
yeah, it was a
What
sleeper
Jin
agent.
did
That's
was he activated a protocol to bring all of them to them. So
to the base.
right, so
Yeah.
when Raiden is getting a bunch of suspicion thrown at him, he's like, "All right, I'll prove I'm not terrorist. I'll find Metsubo Jinrai's base and take you there." That
Yeah,
was
see, that
him.
was so shady. I'm like, that, I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense for a plant, not really, but like, you're kind of such a dumbass gung ho character that I can
Like
see you coming up with this, but I'm like, that is so weird. We're just gonna like walk into the enemy base like this, like,
like
it's probably because
that was
we
literally
watched
just
so much
him
Run.
following orders but thinking it was his idea the entire time.
Yeah, yeah, I know. That's in hindsight, that's what was going on. Makes perfect sense, but it's like, holy shit. I was like, no, let's not do this. This is insane. Right? Because like they're clearly like, oh, we need more keys. I'm like, oh yeah, let's just walk into the enemy base with all our keys. Like, damn it, man, why are we carrying all the keys? Right? Like you don't need all the forms, for fuck's sakes.
Uh, but how else will he open Pandora's box?
Oh god, I was gonna say like, how else would he obtain all the medals? Oh fuck, Pandora's box makes way more sense honestly. With the satellite thing. But the way the damn key gets swapped around was so O's. I mean, that's the next episode, but holy
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
So skipping over some minor details, like yeah, they were lured into an ambush. Raiden has to come to terms with he's actually a spy and didn't realize it. They give him a Dodo key and he becomes Kamen Rider Ikazuchi and a full member of Metsubo Jinrai. Uh, and then the arc Hirobi uses to make a new key, a upgraded wolf key that Fuwa then steals.
This was so. I mean, like, at first, like, I'm like, wait, is that an upgraded dodo? But it's like, no, it's different. It's kind of sad that they just blew up an enemy member, but then again, next episode, so yeah, we'll get to that.
Right,
I also kind of love how like one shot Fua, I mean like single-minded Fua is like, hey, it's a wolf, it's mine. I'm like,
right.
that logic doesn't work, but like, fuck it, you're such a dumbass.
I'm the wolf.
Yeah,
Me.
no, right? Like that's my trademark, you fucks. Like you can't have it. Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
so dumb, but it's so perfect for his character.
Shot
Uh,
rise. Ready go. Assault
right.
wolf. No chance of surviving.
Yeah, I love the no chance of surviving too. That's just the upgrade. That's just the moniker you get if you use this upgrade. That's pretty cool.
And
The
I
one thing I don't like is like, why do the forms have a gun now? Like, I get it, Bandai's trying to sell toys, but like that gun is the most unnecessary thing in the show at this
well on
point.
didn't Satellite Zam build that gun and Aruto gave it to Fuwa?
Yeah, yeah, I know, but okay, that was weird too because they go into fighting and like, uh, Izo already starts making the damn gun. I was like, okay, show, are you just like meta now? Do you just know it's like, oh, it's a new fight. We're just gonna have to throw out new product out there. Um, but then it kind of is this weird thing where it's like, oh no, the satellite kind of knew that something was up. So I'm like, is the satellite waking up now? Like, what the fuck is going on there? Um, yeah, like that was interesting. I still don't think that gun's necessary. I mean, the forms look nice.
Uh, yeah, the satellites seem to be built with their own AI for for just assisting with the regular control over the human gear or something. I don't know, but they have their own built-in AI, and the Ark is evil. It's like, have you seen iRobot?
Okay, iRobot. The movie, okay. The funniest thing is that's based off of like an Isaac Asimov book, and Isaac Asimov's thing is he built the three laws of robotics because he got sick of reading science fiction where the robots would rebel. So he specifically made the three laws of robotics where like, no, this is dumb. The robots don't rebel. And in iRobot,
Like
you hear them.
they
In the
turn
movie,
those
right?
rules into.
Right. And then like the AI just overrides it and it's like, okay, yeah, the books are all about like, yeah, these laws exist and they're like perfect for 99% of the cases, but the books cover the like 1% where it's like there's some gray area where how you can interpret them or how a robot would. So it's like, oh, these are like the super fringe cases, right? Whereas the movie is just like, hey, we have this and society's fine. We just have this one weirdo cop who doesn't trust robots. And then at the end, he's proven right because the robots just act like old sci-fi robots, even though this universe is set up for that to not happen. Oh, it's so dumb. Um, but yeah, like Arc, I feel like Zaya is controlling Arc, or at least like I feel like from
They're
the shit
they're
that's happening
definitely in
next
on
episode.
this.
Yeah, I feel like the whole like Matsubo Jinrai shit is just Arc's play at getting power again. Which is weird because they're already a giant like military contractor, but I guess they're just doing the Namba industry thing of like, yeah, guess what? Killer robots now hire our killer robots to fight killer robots. Oh no, 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 hire out our Kamen Riders because that's what they're trying to make. Like Yua is like, hey, we're gonna create your mythos, right? Just so they can sell their branding. It's like, are we entering some like weird tiger and bunny fused with like Kamen Rider build universe here? Like, what the hell is going on? I mean, it's interesting, but it feels like Zaya has something to do with the arc, right?
Definitely, because like at the end of episode 15, the guy's like, "Hey, the arc is almost entirely complete."
Yeah. Also, Hirobi's like, oh, I gotta do this thing because the arc told me to do the thing,
Yeah,
right? And
the
it's like,
arc is like running the shots for Metsubo Jinrai, but
yeah, I know,
where
but
does Zaya
but I
fit
feel
in?
like but I feel like arc itself isn't like fully like I feel like Zaya is putting in some information where it's like, all right, all I want is Jin. Your time's done, Hirobi. Like, piss off. Um, right? Like, like it's so convenient. Everything happens. Like, either you can say, well, like Zaya's president is like super good at predicting shit, but I'm like, even then, like this is like way too accurate, right?
Yeah,
Like it feels like you're deliberately manipulating shit to go your way if
like
it's going this well.
getting into episode 15, Ames just launches a raid on Metsubo Jinrai because they know where they're hiding now, and Hirobi and Jin are ready for a fight. And the result is that Fua uses Assault Wolf, which nearly kills him. Uh, he targets Jin. Hirobi jumps in the way to protect Jin as part of the arc's will, and is killed by it instead. And when Izu confirms the kill, Jin gets mad and almost kills Izu. Merry
Damn.
Christmas!
I know, right? Right? I'm like, God damn it. Good thing this wasn't the Christmas episode. Easy would be fucking dead. Um, but it happened like one episode before, so she'll probably be fine. Um, but damn, like, man, episode 15 so fucking good. Um,
It feels like I'm watching the season finale.
yeah, exactly, right? I mean, like, it's definitely the end of the arc, but it's like, holy shit.
This could have been the end of the show.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Like, I mean, like, it's a little rushed to be the end of the show, but, like, yeah, this is basically final arc level shit. Um, but then again, like, end of the arc, but damn, it's so well done. Well, for the most part. Um, it's really like thought provoking. Yeah, let's finish this episode, then we'll get to that.
That was pretty much it for episode 14. Honestly, like uh, when Fua steals
Okay.
the key, Hirobi's just like, "You can't use that because I'm not giving you permission." And Fua's just like, "I don't need it," and
Yeah.
fucking
Uh,
breaks the key like he does all of them.
I'm like, okay, dude. Like, security locked by a robot. How are you doing this? One, two, you're super injured. Like, no, next episode they get really. Oh no, that's in episode 15. Yeah, like the whole team almost gets killed. I mean, that was intense because, like, yeah, you just took a hit from like a rider special attack, and you're just a human. Like they all almost fucking die. I'm like, well, at least they're fucking going in for the raid. I also like their like masks and stuff. I mean, I know why the reason they're like fully covered is so they can use far less stunt people and just copy and paste or reuse the same people over and over.
Right?
But I'm like, hey, whatever. At least it looks like decent tactical gear.
And like
So good on that.
the thing about Ikazuchi is like, okay, Metsubo Jinrai does have the four people. Here's the third one. He's dead in the same episode he's introduced.
Yeah, that was like the saddest part.
Like
Cause
that's
like, yeah,
I was gonna say
Be-
that's like the point where I agreed with you, where like, yeah, that could have been built up more.
right. Or I mean, hell, even if you're gonna do a two-parter, at least like have a moment, man. Like this like supposed to be like brotherly character, and he just like bites the dust nowhere even near. I mean, like it feeds into the development of the younger the Space Bros, but like it feels weird for him to just show up and die. I mean, I get it. Like clearly we're fucking running to the end of this arc with what happens in episode 15, but damn, like should have slowed down there.
Yeah,
Yeah, also in this fight, he Arto tries to use his power up, and it doesn't work, right?
I think he just
Um,
gets overpowered.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I really like that he still has like the like multiple CGI effects where it's like, oh, which possibility is the attack coming from, and you'll see like two fake ones, and then the final one that he chose. That's cool that they're still using that. Um, one weird moment is like, okay, you can't take the power away from the satellite. We can't control the satellite. Therefore, let me summon my fucking Megazord, which is the satellite. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I get it. It's like, oh shit, we have to stop the Gigas because they're rampaging again. Oh no, that's next episode. Yeah, next episode. Um, but then he just summons the satellite. I'm like, dude, what? Why is this here? Like, you shouldn't be able to talk to that right now. That's so dumb. Um, yeah, that was really stupid.
But like Arto visiting his family grave.
Oh god, that was a moment. Also in that fight, like, um, Lightning or Kamen Rider, or whatever, the new one that dies in one episode, like, totally fucking Kamen Rider Eternal vibes with like, oh, put everything on the belt, let's go. That was pretty great. Um, anyway, yeah, I guess we're going to
Episode
is it
15.
15 with the grave, right?
Yeah, Arto visits his family grave, and a part of his human gear father is buried there as well, because Arto sees it as his real father.
Yeah, that's sad, but like it also kind of highlights like how much Arto like trusts human gear. Like for him, this is like a core part of his being because like if just sees them as machines, then his dad was just the machine, and right, like he's not going to accept that, which is you know good for his character. Also, like this is the thing from like last episode, or no, it's in this episode. When shit goes down, like Arto is kind of like carefree, but he has like such a dramatic switch when it's like, oh no, writer shit to do, boom, like super serious. Like we haven't seen a writer be this like personality switching for a while, but like damn, when he's in like writer mode, like he is super fucking serious, right? It's
Yeah.
very kind of Spider-Man-y, where it's like, Peter Parker is kind of this one dude, and then whenever he puts on the suit, he totally gets a different personality. Except this is kind of the opposite, where it's like he's more jokey in real life, and when he puts on the suit, he's way more serious. So that's an interesting thing. But yeah, him visiting the grave and then just saying like, "Hey, you should trust your family. They're just not machines. They still had a part to play in your life and all that." And like Izu as has a moment says like, brothers are important, like they're a special person, which doesn't get her to singularity, but like you starting to see her have more human traits, like she's smiling and doing stuff like that. Last episode and this episode, um, but it does awaken the younger Space Bro, right? Or was that last
Uh,
episode?
Subaru.
Yeah,
Well, he hasn't awakened yet, but like at first he's like, my brother was a traitor. He's not my brother anymore, and Aruto just tries teaching him like the value of family. Like
I feel like
he
he
was.
has at the he had a moment at the grave, and then like Arto is like, oh shit, Ames is raiding the base right now, so he has to go.
Yeah, when they put Izu in the machine progress machine for the satellite to fix her. He's kind of like, I also want to help Izu because family and
Yeah, there's that, but like I feel like when Arto's talking at the grave, something happens. Like his eyes definitely glow.
could that be when he recognized that Aruto buried
Oh
his
yeah,
human gear
maybe.
father there?
It could be. I feel like it's more like Izu's just like, oh, brothers are like special people, and then like he realizes like, oh, his brother was not just a robot. Like I feel like that's when he fully awakened, but like that could have just been the first step of him breaking out of like early steps of breaking out of his programming. Hard to say, you know. Like at this point, like either has reached singularity or he's on the path there. It could go either way.
Uh, so also, the board of directors at Hiden uh, Industry are going to have a meeting about whether or not they're going to impeach Ardo as president.
I mean, to be fair, this is kind of a dick move, especially with the timing. But like that's what you expect from the vice president. Like, of course, he's gonna strike
Okay.
when the president's the weakest, right? It's his best friend,
Mistrust is at an all-time high for the past month.
right? Especially like like there's stocks plummeting as like the president of Zaya said, right? Like
Like
nobody trusts your damn company anymore.
this is why uh, he then left in his will like, hey, I hope you can all work together to overcome this crisis because right now all this internal fighting is just not helping.
Right. I mean, he that was a good point, but like here's one of the weird things. It's like the vice president's like he's an asshole, but he's not like outright evil because like he has a point. Like, hey, dude, like company's gonna die if we don't find somewhere to fix this. Are you gonna do anything about it? No, I'm worried about my assistant. I'm like, dude, replacement robot, figure it out, man. Like company's in meltdown mode. So like this is one of those weird points where it's like he should be an anti-hero, that guy, or like someone you grudgingly accept, but he's kind of just written a little more one note. Like he should be Hojo. Like when Hojo's written well, where it's like, yeah, he's an asshole, but like you can't argue against his points super well. I mean, like, but then again, like half the time or a third of the time, Hojo's written like just to be a complete asshole. Um, but I'm talking about when he's written well,
Yeah,
right?
when he actually has a point.
Right. I feel like the vice president definitely has a point. It's just
He's literally just
like
out for his own gain, though.
yeah, yeah. That's what I feel like. Like it should be. Here's the thing. Like I don't feel like that guy is gonna. Okay, if he actually becomes president of the company,
The company would dissolve.
yeah, kind of. But it's more like it's super interesting, honestly. Like if the show writer would actually allow him to become the new president, because at least that'd be interesting. But I feel like the way the show's written, there's no personality of the or chance of that happening. And this is not like a Murakami situation where it's like Murakami will fucking end you if you even start getting too close. Right? Like the vice president doesn't seem that cutthroat. It's just it feels like the show doesn't want to replace Arto as president, therefore like the vice president's never gonna get his time to shine. Whereas I feel like it'd be really interesting if he was a little more of a caring guy trying to save his company, and like then you kind of have like, hey, I'm just trying Arto, who's on one side, like, hey, I'm just trying to carry out my grandfather's thing and my own thing of like being a bridge between humans and robots, and this guy's like, hey, I'm just trying, or in the vice president is like, hey, I'm just fucking trying to save this company
Right.
full of like
They shouldn't have
hundreds or
put
maybe
so
thousands.
much emphasis on him wanting Aruto to step down as president.
Right. Like they should, I mean, they could have had that moment, but they should have tempered it with like, hey, I'm trying to look out for my workers here too, right? Like you like our stock's in the toilet since you've taken over, and it's like you can't do anything and you refuse to fucking listen to us. Right? Like we and like the company's in crisis and you're worrying about your robot assistant, like we don't have time for this. And it's like, well, that's cruel, but like from his point of view, they're just products, right? Like he doesn't believe in the singularity or any of that shit. So him is like, what are you worrying about, right? Like just get another
Yeah,
one.
just get a
Let's
new assistant. There's plenty.
right, exactly. It's like, oh man. See, I wish like he was a little more in depth, but it's like to be fair, we have okay. This is one of those weird situations where you can say, well, we have enough characters, but I'm like, we have enough characters for post-decade shows, right? Well, it's not even that actually. Most of Rider, we have enough of a cast. But like, I feel like if this was like Ryuki or something, like he would totally be a character or Fize, right?
Yeah,
Uh, where they would have like full character arcs. Whereas this right now, he's just an archetype, which is kind of sad.
yeah. Vice president doesn't get enough play.
Yeah, honestly okay.
But
So the votes coming up, I wish the company's like, you know what? Fuck it, Arto. You aren't looking out for the company. Vice president
you
takes over, just for at least maybe one arc. I want to see how what the hell would happen.
and then they have to take his belt away because only the president is authorized to use it.
Right, and like, let's say the vice president even tries, and then he just pull a complete uh, Hojo at like fucking first battle and just wimps out, and it's like, all right, I'm not gonna use the belt. Um,
New rule
I'll
as
I'll allow
president, I will hire someone to use the belt for me.
right, right, and then you kind of have an O situation where it's like, oh, we just pull in a date, like some complete stranger out of left field, and he just becomes the belt user. Like that could happen, or he could just like lend it out to Aruto as like, hey, this is on loan to you, right? You work under my conditions. Um, sort of like season 2 of Amazon's. It's weird. Um, yeah, like it could be really interesting. I don't think the show's gonna do it because I mean it would be interesting because then you would have like Ozaya CEO doing his shit and Vice President doing their shit and like Ames and Arto and all those guys just caught in the middle in the next arc. Um, Sort of like the Great War arc in Build, which was probably like the best fucking arc in that show. Um, but I feel like it's unlikely to go down that path because things would start getting way too complicated way too fast. I mean, it'll be like super interesting, but I don't think the show's gonna go down that path.
So the goal plan all along was for Jin to achieve singularity. Uh, and with Hirobi's death, Jin has now experienced great loss to push him over the edge, coupled with a hatred for the humans who killed him, allowing Jin to take all the Magir sitting in Daybreak and start a revolution.
Yeah, I mean, like that was insane. Um, Also, like all the Magi are just like repaired. I'm like, oh fucking hell. I'm like as if this wasn't dangerous enough. Um, that's also interesting because like oh I guess like Daybreak probably had like a much more like robust like printing system, like 3D printing system because like why would they need a safeguard, right? Like Daybreak hadn't happened, so they're like, oh shit, we can't just have a machine that just keeps printing the enemies. Whereas like now they just have like, oh, this thing can only print one thing at a time, right? Like the new system. Um, that's interesting. Also, Jin has a gun
Yes,
which has bullets which he only uses to make noise with.
get
Oh, no,
attention.
he did kill one
He killed a
Humagear
Magir that
once,
went to attack him.
right? But like literally he has a gun like pointed at a human, bro. You know. um yeah, anyway.
And then you've got Arto coming in with his big speech like, what are the Humagir to you? Your friends? Then why are you treating them like tools?
Dude, that was such a good speed. Like holy shit, that just kind of puts into perspective like Jin has like he's basically he literally is Peardo, where it's like he's got so much potential to go from bad guy to good guy, but like he's way deeper down the rabbit hole than Peardo was, so it'll
Right.
take him a while, but it's gonna be interesting because like it feels like that question actually got to him. It was like, yeah, what the fuck am I doing, right? Because he just did what Hirobi said, and Hirobi just did whatever Arc said. But like Jin doesn't give a shit about Arc for the most part. He just does whatever he wants. So
He
eventually, I feel like he's gonna break free because of this nonsense of like, hey, why am I attacking people who I'm trying to free? You know, like even if he attacks or hates humans. I mean, it would be at least it would have been interesting had he like at one point just gone like, okay, I'm not gonna make any more like I'm not gonna take over Humagear and turn them into Magier anymore because like I don't want them to be fodder. Because one, he's strong enough to fight them one on one, kind of. Um, but again, it's a show. We have to have grunts. Why? I don't know. Why do writer shows need grunts? Like that's a Sentai thing because we have teams. Like writer shows with grunts never make sense.
also, like, I was thinking during our break, like, you know, this hasn't really been a writer versus writer show. It's just had a few moments of it. Like, we're finally not getting a writer versus writer show anymore. And then these two fucking episodes happened.
I mean, to be fair, like even in non-writer versus writer shows, like if you're gonna turn a writer who's not on your side, you're gonna have to fight them once or twice. Like like Kiva. Kiva is definitely not a writer versus writer show, but like Ixa and Kiva fight it out a couple times.
Yeah.
Right? Like Kiva and Dark Kiva definitely fight it out.
Like,
Uh yeah.
it seems like the main villains are going to be riders, but like the monsters won't be.
Yeah, so I feel like the show's gonna turn more and more. Okay, this is weird because we're like at the pretty much at the conclusion of the first arc, but we're not like 20 episodes in or anything. So it's like, okay, there's no way that the next arc just goes the whole show. There's no way. There's
No.
definitely gonna be one final arc at least,
Uh,
right?
we
In which case, like, what are they fighting?
we right
Because
now we are concluding the Metsubo Jinrai arc, and
right,
then
and like the next arc's gonna be Zaya.
right the next
So
arc is gonna be Zaya.
right, which means like next arc is definitely gonna be a lot more writer versus writer shit. But then like final arc is like who are we fighting? Because we already beat the AI, and like Jin is probably gonna join the good guys next arc
I
maybe or
don't
die.
think Jin's getting a redemption arc.
Yeah, so he's either gonna die or he's gonna join the good guys. Um, which means like what do you do for the third arc? Like who's your final villain? Because like if you
Uh,
can say Zaya, but like he's gonna be the villain in the next arc, right? So it's like I feel like something else has to happen.
um. Well, there's also hidden technology. If they pull a twist on us and Arto goes rogue,
I mean,
like imagine the vice
okay, so
president
yeah,
does
go.
become the CEO and
Okay.
he turns out to actually be evil.
Oh, he's the fourth. Oh man. Oh shit. What is this, Battlestar Galactica at this point? Oh, with that kind of ending. Jesus. Yeah. At first you're like, well, Arthur turns evil. I'm like, what? We going like full Kabuto now, or like kind
No,
of just says fuck it for the final arc, and like I'm doing it
we
my way.
we just
Um,
go Fies and have a lone rider fighting in giant organization that he has no hope of beating.
yeah, yeah, that'd be cool. See, the problem with that is he's got secondaries unless they both die, right? Like it's unlikely. I mean, even if they team up, then it just turns into build, right? Where it's like, oh, right, we gotta just take down the evil empire by ourselves. I'm like, okay, that's very writer, but it's like it just kind of comes out of nowhere. Um, yeah, it's gonna be
Oh
interesting.
yeah,
I
when
feel like something else has to be added to the mix. You're right. Like,
well when yeah something else is going to be definitely added, but like when Zaya becomes the main antagonist, what's Yua going to do that arc? Is she going to keep working for Zaya?
well, so the thing is, like, I feel like Zaya is trying to create this like false mythos thing with like, oh, the writer system. It's here to protect people from these killer robots. Hey, guess what? Zaya built this writer system. Here we go. Right?
History is written by
Um,
the winners.
right, exactly. And then they're probably gonna make their own because we know there's one more writer at least, and they'll be like, this is even the biggest, baddest, most awesomest one ever, and we have it. And we're gonna save the day. They're basically just trying to do like create the problem, solve it, and become the heroes type of thing. Um, so disaster capitalism. Oof. That's great. Not, but yeah. What the hell is she gonna do? Like you was really interesting because like I feel like she's smart enough not to just double cross him right off the bat because like she's clearly fucking uncomfortable with what this shit is going on, right? Because he's like, "Fool is just gonna fucking get himself killed," and then like the president of Zaya is like, oh yes, he'll be a great martyr for the cause or something. It's like she's like, fucking hell, this guy pretty much, right? Um, but I feel like she's definitely okay. She either switches sides, which she's smart enough to do, but not right away, or she sticks with the cause and she helps the heroes, but she's gonna end up dying in that fight, right? So it's like either she lives or she dies. I
I
feel
I
like they're
hope
not
she
gonna kill
lives.
her off. Yeah, I hope she lives because like she feels too smart to just like get herself killed trying to she doesn't have the hero problem of believing that like her boss will actually do what she says, right? Like Hero believed that he could actually revive his girlfriend, whereas like I feel like Yua is only going along with this because she doesn't know a better option at the moment. As soon as she figures out a better option, she'll fucking switch sides.
To finish off this episode, Aruto picks up the assault trigger and combines it with his Shining Hopper key and henshins into Shining Assault Hopper. No chance of surviving this shot.
I mean, that's a nice thing and all, but then you turn the damn uh, shotgun into an axe. So I'm like, the one time the gun saying would have worked with the gun turned into an axe. I'm like, well, I mean, on second thoughts, this is like what, like the third axe we've gotten as a weapon, so that's cool. So like, there's Tiger, and then there's definitely like Wizard's fucking Megazord Killer Axe, which is awesome. And then this is the third one, which is less awesome. I mean, like Shining Hopper always looks so fucking badass anyway. With like the red trim, it still looks pretty nice. Um, like Fugo's
Yeah.
new form looks pretty nice, honestly. I mean, if it wasn't fucking killing him, like, dude, he almost died using it the first time, and they just let him walk off. Like, what the hell, Naruto?
Uh, Yua yelled at him not to do it, but she is not his dad and cannot physically stop him.
That's a good point. Um, I do love how Yua
And
just like takes
yeah, she
his
did,
basic.
like, when he
He took
was
his gun
literally starting
away,
to die, she just took it out and was like, okay, no, you're done.
right?
This
That was
is
so good.
this is not happening.
Yeah. Also, like she used both her forms this episode. And I'm like, oh, that's nice because it's also smart because I'm like, Lightning Hornet is pretty good, but it's like these guys are too overpowered. You dodging would be better than fucking being aerial right now, which she used, which was clever. But then the problem is she turns into Lightning Hornet, and I'm like, okay, Lightning Hornet has like swarm attacks and flight abilities. Use both of them, use any of them, but she doesn't. And then Arto has to come save her. I'm like, that was lame, but I'm like, it's fine. It's a new form. We kind of have to put somebody in danger. And like, Fu is almost dead, so like he's not gonna take the other shot, right? Um, so it kind of makes sense. Um, but yeah, like you, you are so interesting, but she's only gonna be so interesting for so long. If she decides to stick with Zaya for like half the show or something, like I'm gonna be done because then it's like you're kind of ruining the intelligence of this character. Like, yeah, I'll let it slide for the next couple episodes, maybe like like till 25 maybe. Um, or like somewhere around the 20s. She better like start switching sides or at least figure out a plan. Um, but any more than that, I'm like, you're kind of like throwing away her intelligence, Because by then, I feel like she would have figured out a plan.
So, next week's episode seems like it'll be the conclusion of the Metsubo Jinrai arc and also the start of the Zaya arc.
Yeah, I mean, like the show is starting to go like okay, it was like Kabuto mixed with X8. Now it's like Kabuto mixed with O's. You know what I mean? With like the
No.
corporate shit coming in.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, especially also with like how much they were fighting over the damn keys and like misusing them or like switching them around. Like, oh man, these are straight up medals now, which is great. But like, yeah, that kind of came out of nowhere. Well, not true, but definitely felt more like an O's thing. Um, I do love how like Fura steals it and it's like, oh, this is Ark's power, and then like Arto steals it. And it's like, no, this is both Ark's and what the hell's Hidan Industries one's called?
Sorry. Hiden's what?
What's what's Hidan Industries satellite called?
Oh, Zaya.
Zaya, yeah. So like Arc and Zaya's power is him using it. I'm like, okay, you were like already overpowered. Like, how insanely overpowered are you? Also, like, you got like three power ups in a row where it's like, oh, this is the new power. It's like, nah, this is like only 1.5 times as strong. It's like, no, this is the full power, but it's 400 times strong. And it's like, no, this is even more power. Like, dude, it's been like three
Okay.
episodes, man.
Okay.
Or four
Guy,
episodes.
guy, the head of Zaya, he is just making numbers up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He's at the end of episode 15. He's like Zaya, or no, the arc is now 999% complete.
Yeah, he's basically
He
saying like the okay, he just needs one more piece. That's what he's trying to say. But like, yeah, he has a bad
he
habit
is
of
just
just doing it.
making numbers up.
Yeah,
So just
honestly,
ignore anything he says.
yeah. It's just one of those issues with this writer where he just tends to throw numbers. I mean, like for X8, it kind of made sense with the leveling thing, but then that kind of got out of
That
hand
got thrown
too.
out the window.
Yeah. Um, honestly, the whole like 0-1-0-1 in the intro with like, oh right, we gotta put AI and stuff. It's like, great. Why are you giving them numbers? They don't need multipliers, right? Just because you throw numbers in your show doesn't mean you can start like throwing out like Dragon Ball multipliers, which are fucking nonsense.
0-1. Ray Wah.
Yeah, I know, right? That took me so long to get. I'm like, oh my god, so on the nose. This show. Ah, honestly, this episode was fucking great.
Yeah, both of these episodes were great, but this one was like incredibly solid. This is the probably the best episode of 0-1 so far.
Yeah, and then again, like this writer is really good at doing like dramatic moments, right? Like because Xade, you know. So of course, but damn, like I was not expecting fucking Hirobi to bite the dust this early. Like, did you even see that coming at all?
No.
Yeah, especially the way he died, where it's like, oh, this is Ark's orders. I'm like, fucking goddamn. We're going to find out that like Zaya is pulling the strings in like a couple episodes for sure at this point, right? Because that damn satellite didn't even launch. It wasn't even functional, fully functional. There's no way it's giving them orders.
Um, so, uh, thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll figure out what we're doing because next week is the holiday, so we may or may not be streaming, but we'll figure that out. For sure, we'll be back in a couple weeks, though. So thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. Sorry about the little break. Um, and yeah, next week we'll see. Because it is the holidays, it's always kind of a weird time scheduling. But we might do it. We might do it on the weekend, or we might just do a doable feature. I mean, we'll have to see. But anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. This was a solid episode. Hopefully, the next part is also super solid.